All right, while we wait for others to join, I wanted to go around and introduce. I am Courtney Kearney, owner and founder of CKearney Consulting, and welcome to our marketing call. We've been doing CRM calls for quite some time, and some of our attendees asked if we could expand on topics not just CRM related, but all things marketing that those in our industry might face. So we have, I think, had two or three of these so far. And today we are having a guest speaker virtually, even more virtually because she was selected for jury duty on Monday. So she recorded this for us so that she could still provide her fantastic content. That is Lindsay. She will introduce herself on her presentation here in a few minutes. But so far, let's go through and introduce yourself. Say your firm, what your role is. And I'd also like to hear if there's any specific topics. We are working on our schedule for 2020. So if there's a topic that you would like to discuss for next year, that we would love to put that together, or if you would like to be the guest speaker and provide marketing content or CRM content to these calls, we would love to hear from you. All right, so we will start. I see Amy King, you can introduce yourself on chat since you don't have audio. Lauren, since I know your audio works, we'll start with you. I know your audio worked a second ago. All right, we will go on to Amy Amaya.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is Amy Amaya. I'm operations manager with CKearney Consulting. So.
No marketing topics that you would like to hear?
No, I'm more the data side of marketing like you are. So I'm gonna learn on this presentation today.
For sure. Looks like Joe does not have audio either. So Joe Rostek, I'm going to say, with Williams Architecture out in Chicago. Welcome. Oh, and Amy, if you want to say where you're from too, location-wise.
Oh, I'm in the Keller, Texas area.
Sounds good. All right. It looks like we have a Brittany. I'm not sure if Brittany can unmute herself. No mic. Okay, so Brittany is from Columbus, Ohio. Welcome. Amy is the marketing and sales coordinator at American Boiler and Mechanical in St. Louis, Missouri, and I spent last week with you. Welcome. And then Chanel Brown, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Chanel Brown. I'm with WMJ. I'm the business development coordinator in the Richmond office. I'm also on the data analytics side, so I don't have any specific marketing topics, but looking to get well-rounded in all of marketing. So,
yes, welcome. All right, and then Natalie Price.
Hi, it's Natalie, Amber, and Lindsay with Cross Anderson. We're all in the marketing department here. One topic we kind of thought of going into 2020 is maybe a discussion on how people are using the account plan or op plan.
Fantastic. I'll throw in the meeting plan too, since that might be a new one that people aren't using. I like that topic. Thank you for joining us. And y'all are in Minneapolis, correct? They're in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
I know
yeah,
they are.
Sorry.
Oh, I was trying to play coy, but yes, I know they're in Minneapolis. Unless I guess y'all could have traveled somewhere and calling in. D. Moore. I'm not sure first name or if that's first name, last name.
Debbie Moore.
Fantastic. Role and company and where you're located.
A marketing manager Texas, Houston, Texas, Satterfield and Ponticus Construction.
Fantastic. Well, welcome. It looks like we have an RPA. All right, Lauren, do you have audio back and want to introduce yourself?
Me, this Lauren?
Yes.
Okay. I was at the doctor's office yesterday and there were 2 other Laurens, so it was a lot of fun. Hello, I am Lauren Kobzeff. I'm a marketing strategist with Schaefer Creative. And I am out of fabulous Arlington, Texas.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And Brittany, were you able to get audio? If not, you can drop your introduction in the chat window. There is only one Brittany that I see ending in an I. I guess I should specify. All right, it looks like that's everybody who wrote their name when they signed in. We've got several people that have called in. If you would like to introduce yourself, feel free. Brittany is a marketing coordinator with Carpenter Marty in Ohio. Welcome. All right, it looks like we have 3 or 4 people who have called in. I'll give you a minute to introduce yourself if you'd like. If not, you can drop it in the chat window. Okay, let's get started. Like I said, for those that are joining us, we have a guest speaker, Lindsay Diven, and she was selected for jury duty on Monday. So she recorded her content for us. Oh, we've got Christina, Sarah, and Kim, welcome, from RPA and Phoenix. Fantastic. It looks like we've got a good US showing across the board. Maybe like far West Coast or far East Coast is the only one we're missing. This is great. All right, so Lindsay had jury duty on Monday, unfortunately got selected, and it's a week-long trial. Well, let's hope it's only a week-long trial. So she recorded the content for us. She will not be able to answer questions live, but she has provided her content or her contact information at the very end so that we can get in touch with her if you have direct questions.
Hi, and welcome to Creating Compelling Content.
Oh, that was me. I tried to click off the chat window and I started it. She'll provide her information. I will try to answer questions if I can, and then we'll direct some to her as well. If you want to share this later, we are recording this and we'll provide it in a link when we send out the follow-up email tomorrow, along with the survey asking about how today's call was so that we can better our content as well. So without further ado, let's get started. And since I'm the only one sharing my screen or my video, I'm gonna go ahead and close it. But in the future, if you want to share your video, it's just another way to engage since we are all virtual or calling in so that we can get to know one another better on a monthly basis. All right, here we go.
In today's presentation, I'm going to be covering a brief introduction of myself. I'm going to be talking about what persuasive proposals are and some ideas of how to start making your proposals more persuasive. And then I'm going to talk about some compelling writing techniques. And then I'm going to share some 5 different ways to infuse creativity into your proposals and then summarize it all at the end. So let's start with a little bit about me. So first, my name is Lindsay Diven. I am a wife, a mom of 2, including a teenager. My son is 15 years old. I am a marketing consultant, a marketing CRM consultant, and I predominantly work with Deltek Vision CRM for Full Sail Partners. I am an avid Gator football fan. Even after this last week, we had not a good game, but I'm a Gator football fan for life. I'm a very active SMPS member. Some of you might recognize me from the various regional conferences and the Build Business Conference that I often present at. I am a home renovator. We just finished renovating our 1968 ranch style home, and we're working on some other projects in the works. We like to go to the beach whenever we can. I am in Florida, so there's lots of options around us. And entrepreneur. So for those of you who don't know, I also run the website Marketers Take Flight, which is a training resource for marketers in the architecture, engineering, and construction industry. It has a lot of free resources and blogs, articles, kits, stuff like that. Okay, so let's dive into persuasive proposals. And proposal content should position your firm to win. It's a sales document. It needs to persuade the reader that your firm is the best firm for the project. The reasons to select your firm should be crystal clear and obvious to the reader with enough information to allow the decision makers to back up their decision. I wanted to stop here and talk about this before we even get into the details of proposal content. Oftentimes, we get caught up in making sure all of the pieces are included and that we are compliant with RFP requirements. And that's very important too. But you also want to make sure that the proposal is persuasive. You want to make sure your proposal is different from all of the others and that yours is the best choice for the decision makers. So let's spend a few moments talking about how you should go about doing this. So, how do you make your proposal persuasive? First, it's about being different. Then it's about explaining why those differences matter and why they should matter to the client. And then making those differences clear. Sometimes we have a difference or we know a difference, but we don't clarify it enough in our writing. And then showing the client what they will get, particularly if they choose your firm and the differences that come with your firm. What will they get? What will the client get that they won't get from another firm? And then doing this in every section, every paragraph, every graphic, et cetera, et cetera. You can't just do it in your introductory paragraph on your cover letter. It has to be throughout the document. So also, before you start writing the proposal, it is important to understand a few things about the reader of your proposals. So first, he or she cares first and foremost about their own needs. They will want to spend as little time as possible reading or looking at your proposal. They probably have multiple proposals to read through, and it's probably not their full-time job. So you need to make it easier for them to clearly identify what makes your firm different so they can quickly read through your proposal, get the gist, and move on to the next. And it's often very hard for them to find differences in our firms, and they are looking for it because they need to make their decisions easier. So we need to make it easy for them to know that how our firm is different, so that way it's easier for them to find it and score us accordingly. So what is the reader looking for? They're looking for maybe the core challenges you'll be addressing in your proposal document, the deliverables or the approaches, and the benefits to those. And we'll talk about benefits in a little bit. The cost, if there's cost involved in your proposal, you need to make it clear. You need to make it concise, using their forms, but you also might need to summarize it in another way. Schedule. So yes, include the full schedule, but I often like to put a summary of the schedule and the differences of what makes our schedule different, or the benefits of our schedule over our competitors, and maybe a call out box or a summary narrative so they know and they don't have to try to compare our Gantt chart to another firm's Gantt chart. Credibility. We'll talk a little bit about this when we start working on the outline examples. But credibility. What you're really saying in your proposal, how credible is that? How can you back that up? And then how your firm is truly different. They are really looking for that because it's going to make their job to select the right firm that much easier. Okay, so differentiation can be very challenging. Our firms often offer the same type of services, and our people are usually all licensed and capable of doing the job. Putting all of that aside, here are some other ways to think about different types of differentiation. So maybe what you offer. So maybe a service or an expertise, maybe the service type that you offer is slightly different. Maybe how you design it, create it, or deliver it. So it's not maybe the end result, but it's how you approach your work, or how it's going to be, how you work with clients is going to be different than how others work with clients. So this gets into the client experience. What is that client, how is that client going to experience working with your firm going to be different? Focusing on what you think matters to the client. So if you know this as part of your pre-proposal intelligence gathering, and you know maybe their priorities or what really matters to them, focusing on that, and your proposal will make it different than your competitors who don't know that information. What you offer that better aligns with the client's goals. This is very similar to what I was just saying. If you know their top 1 or 2 goals for that project, and aligning your writing and your proposal around that will, and maybe even how you structure your approach around that, will make your firm different. The client will get from you that they won't get from the competitors. That just kind of summarizes all of those points. Okay, so now that we know that the proposal is a sales document and it needs to be persuasive, let's dive into the specifics of how to develop your content, specifically your writing. And let's start by making sure we are crystal clear on features versus benefits. Probably the most important thing to do is not just write about your features, but to also include how that feature will benefit the client. The benefit is then even more valuable if it's important to the client's goals or needs. And hopefully these goals or needs, or sometimes I refer to them as gaps, are identified in the pre-proposal phase. So let's define each here. So features. Features describe what you do. They're tangible aspects of your services. And there's something you can touch, see, taste, or feel. And they could be the things, the people, the system, the tools, the equipment, etc. that you offer. Features are mostly about you, not what you do for a client. So clients will ask, so what? And so let me give you an example to help you out here. So an example feature could be, our firm has been in business for 35 years. I can guarantee you most of us, or all of us on this call, have put a sentence like that in our proposals, if not every proposal. Maybe not 35 years, but a certain number of years. And so then the question is, so what? So you've been in business 35 years, so what? Why should the client care about your service or your expertise? How do they benefit from it? Most of the time, benefits are about saving time, reducing costs, minimizing risk, or about more efficiency. They describe what a feature can do. They identify the most significant payoffs to the client. The benefit closes that gap or that issue or that need that you've identified that's important to the client. Your benefit hopefully fulfills that need. They can be positive outcomes like increased volumes if it's a traffic or a roadway project, or a shorter schedule. They can be individual, people outcomes. When I say individual, I mean like people, decision makers, their next promotion, their performance bonus, et cetera, et cetera. Benefits often are more business or agency focused rather than the project focused. And the benefits pass that so what test. So you've been in business 35 years, so what? And so it's usually the response after the so what is the benefit. And so let me give you an example of a benefit. So using that same feature, 35 years experience. So using the lessons learned from 35 years of experience designing roadways throughout Florida, we will ensure your design is technically correct, constructible, and cost effective. And through our pre-proposal research, we found those are the agency goals: constructible, cost effective, technically, high quality, constructible, cost effective. And so we want to make sure that our features close that gap. So let's look at another example. So an example feature could be, we follow a documented quality control plan for every project. Who here writes about quality control? And so the benefit for that feature could be, developed originally for NASA, our quality control process will ensure there is no rework, errors are caught before construction, and involves exceptional constructability reviews. This minimizes schedule impact and delays. So there's a lot going on in this particular example. So first, credibility, developed originally for NASA. I mean, you can't get more high quality than that, right? That goes to credibility, what I talked about a little bit earlier. There are some features within the features. So, a quality control process ensures no rework, errors are caught before construction, and involves exceptional constructability reviews. Those are maybe like different sub-features, but some of them, errors are caught, that's a benefit. No rework, that's a benefit. And then minimizes schedule impact and delays. That's definitely a benefit. And that's usually like a corporate or an agency goal. So once you start identifying your features and benefits, you can start developing an outline for your proposal writing. You can use storyboarding and brainstorming ideas to take these features and benefits. You can put them into an outline form and divide them among your writers. You can use this outlining technique for any proposal section, your technical approach, quality control, project management, project staffing, etc. And so let me walk you through an example of what I mean by this. So you would take each section and maybe outline using the following formula. You would take your strongest message and then maybe feature one, and you would completely describe one feature, and then within that section, you would also describe the benefits or the pros for this feature, and then as well as talk about ghosts. And ghosts describe the things considered and rejected for this feature. Ghosts could also be things that you may know that your competitors may have, like a feature that they may have, or an approach or something that they might be proposing. And so you don't want to say, well, we know Acme Engineering has an office, 3 feet from your project. And you don't want to say it that way, but you can ghost it and say, well, we've considered opening an office right next to the job site, but we ruled that out because of budget concerns. And it's not needed because we have one 10 miles away. We can be there 10 minutes. So you're not specifically calling out the firm, but you're saying, well, we considered opening an office, but here's what it's going to cost. And because we have an office, 10 minutes away, we don't think it's cost effective. So those are kind of ghosts. They're kind of saying other things that you've considered and rejected and why. And then proofs. So again, this goes back to credibility. And so this proofs are where you have provided that benefit or that feature before, maybe for that client or a different client, but in a similar situation, and have received the benefit that you're proposing in this particular instance. So in your outline, you also want to make sure start identifying that proof, and that will just say, that just really tells the reader, hey, this isn't just marketing fluff and they're just telling us what we want to hear. They've actually have done it before. And then graphics. So as you start writing these, you can have a side list or a sketch of graphics that support and supplement the text. So once you have these, and we'll walk through a couple of examples to give you some ideas. You'll be able to identify graphics a lot easier. And then you go to feature number 2, and you just kind of repeat the process. So your outline for a section might look like this. You might have 2 strong message for that section. And so under each message, you would have the features, benefits, ghosts, proofs, and then ideas for graphics. So let's go back to that quality control plan example that I mentioned a few minutes ago and outline that section just to give you a better idea. So our strongest message was developed originally for NASA. Our quality control process will ensure there is no rework, errors are caught before construction, and involves exceptional constructability reviews. This minimizes minimizes schedule impact and delays. So that's our strongest message. So our features, our feature one is our QC plan includes weekly progress meetings with both design and construction discipline leads. So that's a feature. So what, right? Why should the client care that we're having a weekly progress meeting? The benefit is involving the construction team and the design reviews reduces the errors before any construction begins. Boom, that's important to the client. And then ghosts. We don't wait until major design milestones to conduct these reviews. We have found in our design build experience, this is often too late and causes rework for design and can jeopardize the schedule. So we may or may not know that some of our competitors do that, or that's typically done by most design build teams, that approach to wait to major design milestones to conduct reviews. So that's why we say this is why we don't do that. And then proofs, we followed this exact process for FDOT District 4's I-595 design build project. We were able to keep the project within design schedule and reduce the RFIs during construction by 50% of a typical design build project. Now this is a made up proof. That was a real project, but I made up the proof just to, just to protect the innocent, so to speak. And then graphics. So as you're coming up with the features, the benefits, the proofs, and the ghosts, this will start giving you some ideas for the graphics. So some ideas for this graphic could be a photo of a design and construction weekly progress meeting. So you can have a photo of that actual meeting with a caption underneath it, a sample agenda of a weekly progress meeting, a photo of the project proof. So the proof that I used, that project with a caption emphasizing the reductions of RFIs. So there's like 3 graphics ideas just from this, paragraph of, proposal writing. Okay, and then feature number 2, so under that same message, every review is conducted by experienced discipline leads with extensive local experience and understanding of the design build delivery method. And so the benefit is clear communication and coordination amongst the team members, FDOT, and jurisdictions having authority results in faster permit approvals. So the benefit really is here, faster permit approvals. And then the ghost is because this project involves approvals from multiple local, state, and federal jurisdictions, having a review team who lives and works locally and has the experience working with each jurisdiction will expedite the approval process and keep the project on track. So this ghost is from, maybe we know some of the other teams and they have other people that aren't in the area, or maybe they're in the area but they don't have experience with these jurisdictions, permitting experience, something like that. And then proof, this was the case for the complex Port of Miami tunnel project that had many state and federal agencies. Our designs were submitted with little comment back and received U.S. Army Corps permit approval in record time. So we talked about a project, we talked about the benefit, which is going back to the benefit, faster permit approvals. Our proof showed that we had permit approval in record time. It would probably be even a better proof if we could give the number of days for that project as opposed to a typical Army Corps permit approval, time. But this is good. Better would be like actual number of days. And then lots of ideas for graphics. The Port of Miami tunnel photo with a descriptive caption, chart of each discipline lead with a list of specific local design build experience, maybe a communication flow chart between discipline leads, design team, and client. The list could go on and on with this. So that was just an example of, and this is, I say an outline, but you're actually doing the sentences and the content that would be in your document. Each one of these could probably be a paragraph or 2 that would be in your quality control section of your proposal. So you want to remember, as you write a proposal or you're reviewing a proposal, that usually was what happens most. You're getting writing from a technical staff, or your project manager, and you're reviewing and you're editing. So the proposal content. So as you're doing that, ask yourself, what message am I or we trying to convey? What feature of the writing stands out? So where's the feature? How can I use a graphic to convey this message? So you always want to add graphics to make your document more reader friendly. And then decide how you will use graphics. Will you have a preview graphic for each section of the proposal? I see a lot of firms do that. Will you have a summary graphics for each point you wish to make? We use icons or symbols to flag important sales messages, and that is my favorite technique, especially if they are different colors and different icons and they stay consistent throughout the document. Those are your key messages. I really like that, and we'll talk about that in the next section. Okay, so next let's talk about different ways to infuse creativity into your proposals. And as proposal managers, we often get stuck when it comes to infusing creativity into our proposals. Maybe we're limited by our own firm brand guidelines and the client's requirements in the RFP documents. And because of this, we can get into a creative rut, especially when we're constantly working under tight deadlines and often working on multiple proposals at once. We want our proposal to be unique and stand out to put our firm at an advantage. We also understand that the proposal needs to not only meet the client's requirements, but must resonate with the client decision makers, projects, needs, and gaps, like what we were talking about earlier. So often we rely or begin our proposal with boilerplate materials or a similar previous proposal. And then we take that information and customize it for the new proposed project and the new RFP requirements. And ideally in an ideal world, we'll have the time, the pre-proposal intelligence and resources to create a new proposal that is 100% customized to the client's situation, the specific scope, their needs, rather than using boilerplate and generic information. However, that's the ideal world. Either way, whether you're starting from boilerplate or you can do 100% customized, you want the final proposal to clearly communicate the reasons why the client should select your firm in a convincing and easy to read way. To achieve this takes a bit of creativity. And to help you get started with that, I'm going to share 5 ways to infuse creativity into your proposals to make them more compelling. So first, get creative with callouts. Callouts are a great creative approach to highlight your features, benefits, and proofs that may otherwise be lost in long paragraphs. I like to also include them throughout each section of the proposal. For example, in the quality control section, when you write about the design review meetings, insert a call out next to that paragraph with a photo of the team conducting a design review meeting. Then have a caption that explains what the picture is showing and what project it was for. This allows you to incorporate some project experience and proves to the client that you really do conduct design review meetings. Another idea, let your clients speak for themselves. Including testimonials in your proposals is a great idea and really demonstrates your expertise to your future client. If you are fortunate to have client testimonials, don't just put an image of the letter. Use the actual text from that letter as a quote, text from that letter, quote text from that letter as a call out box or an inside large quotation marks. And you can kind of see this sample on the screen on the left-hand side of the page, the yellow quotation marks. You can also sprinkle these callouts throughout the document. Don't just keep this good content in an appendix or a client reference section. Pull out a piece of the testimonial that is relevant to a specific proposal section and add it there. Let's say you have a client testimonial that talks about how impressed they were with your attention to communication and coordination. Pull that sentence or 2 out of the client testimonial letter and insert it as a call-out box next to the project management or communication section in that proposal. Next, create a prominent why us statement. And you might already have a typical why us or value proposition statement for your proposal. And often it gets buried in the cover letter or the first page of the narrative. Consider including this statement right at the beginning of your proposal and take up the entire first page. This example is actually, the image on the screen is actually on the inside cover. So when you open it, it's on that left-hand side. So even better is if you can overlay the statement with a photo of a project that proves your statement. And this is a great way to pique the client's curiosity and make them want to read more. A compelling statement like this at the beginning can set the tone for your entire proposal. It will also ensure that your possible most compelling reason for the client to hire you isn't missed or buried. It's right there in front of your face. Just think about a magazine cover and the text on it that they use to get you to open it up and read that article. And then include visuals. And this may seem like a no-brainer, but I have seen way too many text-heavy proposals to not include this point. A few visuals scattered throughout will make your proposal more appealing and break up the long paragraphs of text to make it easier to read. And so some different types of visuals to consider are images, and they may seem like an obvious visual. We include our project photos and possibly employee headshots on our resumes. But think about what other images you can include that show how your firm works. These can be planning sessions or design meetings or even safety meetings. Also think about including photos of past clients, especially if you are using their testimonial or case study in the proposal. Another visual are charts and graphs. Can you turn complex information or data into a chart or a graph? And then last are icons. And these are yet another way to beef up your visual impact of your proposals. I like using icons to represent different sections or different proposal themes. And each time that item is mentioned, we use that icon next to the text with a call out. And it just really makes the proposal that much easier to read. And then next, rethink your proposal packaging. If you must provide hard copies of your proposals to the client, what other ways can you bind or package your proposal? Of course, follow what the RFP specifies. But if there is no specific binding or packaging in the RFP, how creative can you get? And this is a great example of this image here. This was a 2019 SMPS MCA Project Pursuit Marketing Award of Excellence, and I got to give props to Moody Nolan. This was a proposal for the National Museum of African American Music, and their proposal's on the bottom, but the case that they delivered the proposal in, they made it, I don't know what they made it out of, but it looks like a boombox, which is very on point and very creative because it's a museum of music. And so this was not just a binder or a box. This presented their whole theme of their proposal before the client even opened the proposal. So just think about stuff like that if there's different ways to bind or package your proposal. And then think about all the technology and multimedia ways you can package a proposal. Has your firm started to use augmented reality or virtual reality capabilities like with Oculus or Google's Cardboard? Can you provide your entire proposal on one of those headsets and give each selection committee member a headset to view and virtually walk through your proposal? I've heard of this. I haven't seen one yet. If anybody has done this, please reach out to me because I would love to feature you. And then if you'll get a copy of these slides, so you can click on the HubSpot name, and this will take you to an article that shares how 9 different companies have incorporated VR into their marketing strategies. And there's some pretty cool stuff in there. And these last 2 bullets may seem far-fetched now, but it's coming, and it's coming faster than we can imagine. So us as marketers need to stay ahead of that. And then I would be remiss if I didn't mention your firm's branding. I am a very strong believer that your firm must have strong and consistent branding elements, including with your proposals. I am a proponent of creating and using a consistent set of proposal templates. This saves you time and effort with setting up the proposal document and allows you time and creative energy to think about the elements that we've talked about today. And these are just 5 ways to start infusing creativity into your proposals. If you are still stuck or need further information, look to the previous SMPS Marketing Communication Award winners, like the one I showed a couple slides ago. Another place I also look for inspiration is Envato Elements. They have icons, infographics, and just about every other type of graphic and multimedia item that you may need. Sometimes you can just browse and get ideas, but you can also get a subscription and actually buy templates and elements at a very affordable price. And then there's Canva. This is a web-based graphic design tool that comes with hundreds of templates for documents, slide decks, and social media graphics. You can sign up for free and pay a small fee for upgraded content. And like I said, you'll get these slides, and each one of these have a link that will take you right to those websites. Okay, so let's start closing up today's presentation. So I wanted to recap some proposal writing rules that we covered today, or maybe I didn't cover today, but I just wanted to end the presentation with. So first, tell them, and tell them some more. And we talked about outlining and different ways to infuse creativity. But when you have your key messages, your main messages that you want to convey in your proposal, you need to convey them throughout your proposal. You can't just put them in your cover letter. You can't just have a page that says YS and have them all there. They need to be consistently documented throughout your proposal, and the icons and different graphics are great ways to do it in addition to the text. Proposals are not about you. They're about the client. They're not about your features. They're about the benefits and why the client, what the client will get if they select you, which are the benefits. So sell the benefit. Be extremely specific. The more specific, the better. The more specific, it'll show you're different from your competitors, and it also will show you you're more credible, especially when you get specific on your proofs. Keep it as brief, but not briefer than possible. Sometimes this is dictated in the RFP because we have page limits. Sometimes it's not. And so if you can say something in 2 sentences, don't make it more than 2 sentences. Don't make it 1 sentence. Make it as brief that it needs to be and not any longer. And that's it today. So again, my name is Lindsay Diven. I work with Full Sail Partners. I'm a CRM consultant for Deltec Vision. So I can help you with anything on the Deltec Vision side. And then I also run the Marketers Take Flight website, again, which is a training resource for marketing professionals in the architecture, engineering, construction industry. And here is all my contact information, so feel free to reach out. And again, I apologize for not being able to be here today, but I'm sure if anybody has any questions that can't be answered, just send me an email and I'll try to get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. All right, so we've got about 15 minutes left. Does anybody have any thoughts or comments, things that stood out to you all? I'm going to try to unmute so that everybody can talk or share. It looks like we've got somebody on chat. Yes, so I will share this presentation in an email following up tomorrow. We will also have a survey link in there so that you can access this information. And then I think she also provided a PDF. I will double check, and we'll have that for download on our website as well. What were some of the things that really stood out from Lindsay's presentation? Feel free to use the chat. I know we have several people that don't have audio today, so definitely drop a comment in the chat window too. I'm curious if anybody on the call is using augmented reality or the virtual reality that she referred to towards the end. See if I can find that slide quickly.
Museum of Music.
I'll also try to find this proposal that she references, because there was a video that they shared at Build Business when this one was announced. That was fantastic and very impressive. The space that they had that the firm built was very futuristic, augmented reality. They did a whole video that also went with this submittal. I don't think.
And so this.
Yeah, I don't think I can click on this HubSpot. I will include that on the website as well so that you all can see the link that she had to that article as well. All right. Well, I will follow up tomorrow with an email to the link to this presentation, the PDF of the slides, the HubSpot link, and hopefully this MCA submittal as well. You guys have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to, oh, I did want to point out,
just a binder.
Sorry, our next call, we've got a CRM user group call on November 14th, 2 to 3 Central Time. And then our next marketing call is in December. And that will be, oh, we do not have a guest speaker for December yet for our marketing call. So if you would like to be the guest speaker, feel free to respond to the survey when we send that out later this afternoon or tomorrow so that we can get a guest speaker for our December call. You guys have a great rest of your day and a fantastic week. Thank you for participating.